What's up, guys? So I'm going to teach you guys how to properly board a coon on a wood board. So we got a wood board here. We got a nice raccoon trap today. So I'll teach you guys how to properly board a raccoon. Alright guys, so I trapped this guy this morning. All I've done so far is I've skinned them and I've fleshed them and I've washed them. So after you wash them, you want to make sure that you get these guys dry. You can let them sit overnight, let them hang overnight, and then board them the next day. So you really want to make sure this is dry. What I did, I just put mine up to a fan, let them sit for about 30 to 40 minutes. Gets these guys real nice and dry. If you board them when they're still wet, this wet fur will be up against this wood board. It won't dry right, and that moisture will create bacteria, and your hair will start to slip out, and that'll ruin the fur. And it'll just mess up your fur altogether. So you want to make sure this is dry. I used to skin them, wash them, and then flesh them. But after you flesh them, you know, some of that grease can get on the fur. So what I do now is I skin them, flesh them, and then I wash them, let them dry. So as you can see, it's nice and dry. So we're gonna board this guy. Alright guys, so these are the boards I use. You can see I have all the labels X'd out, large, XL, 2XL, 3XL, and 4XL. We're going to go ahead and turn them inside out here. So you want to make sure you get these guys real well fleshed. Coons are really fatty. Alright, so we got them turned inside out here. See, we got our coon here. It's turned inside out. Now go ahead and put them on our board. You want to make sure, wherever you have your labels here, you want to put them like his head right here over this. Alright, there you go. Alright, so we're just slide them on the board right here. You want to make sure everything's all, you know, level. You want to make sure his ears line up, his eyes line up. We'll pull him down a little bit. So, as you guys can see, we got his ears are lined up nice, and eyes are lined up nice. You know, tail is centered in the middle of the board down here. So, he's lined up nice. So, now what we're gonna do, to snug him up, guys, I like to just hit him on the ground real quick, like this. That'll really make this nice and tight up here. So now we're gonna pin him in. And also, as you can see, these arms here will be inside out. So you just want to pull these arms out. And you want to make sure these arms are nice and centered in the middle of the board here and everything. So he's nice and centered. Alright guys, so I'm boarding this coon on. I'm boarding this guy on wood here. As you can see, this is what a wood board looks like. This is what we are using for this guy. But what a lot of people use is wire stretchers here, which is what a wire stretcher looks like. You know, you just slide the coon on, basically the same, and then you got these little hooks here. You hook it to the hide here, and that basically stretches it. So, but I feel like you get a better product on wood. I feel like it just looks nicer. It's more presentable. And it's just easier to work with than using these wire stretchers. Sometimes the wire can be a little bit too wide and it'll just mess up your fur. So if you're gonna get into trapping or fur handling, I would definitely go with a wood board, something like this. You know, mark the sizes here so you can see the sizes on this thing. You don't have any sizes, so that's why I like wood better. Just easier to work with. You have sizes here, you can stretch them down to the sizes. So yeah, wood is definitely a better option. Alright guys, so now we're going to pin in our coon here. So as you can see, our marks here, this guy's just going to make a 2XL. So he's about in the middle of a 2XL and 3XL, but he's too far to stretch down to 3XL. So we're just going to get him right here. We know he's going to be 2XL. So the first pins we're going to put in right here at the base of the tail. Put them in right here. Yeah. Okay, got both our pins right here in the base of the tail. And see, I'm not just like wrenching down on the hide. I'm not trying to overstretch it. If you overstretch the hide, it'll kind of get stuck on the board. It'll take way too long for you to get off the board. So, you know, just don't overstretch your fur. You know, if you know it's going to be a certain size, you don't need to stretch it down to the next size. It's too far to stretch. You know, don't overstretch it. You know, basically don't even stretch it at all. Just bring it down a little ways, pin it in, and yeah. So we got two pins right here on the base of the tail. Now we're going to flip them around over here. You can see here, we put one pin right here on this flank, pin it in, bring it about to the middle of the board, a little bit less than halfway. And do the same on the other side. Get your pin in right there, bring it down about the middle, halfway the middle, or whatever. Alright, so as you can see, we got both pins right here, and we're flipping back around over here. You can see. What I like to do is I like to do 4 pins on each side of the tail here, so we're going to do one over here. Like I do about a pin, like every half inch or so. Alright, as you can see, we're left with this really nice, perfect straight line right here going straight across. That's what we want. Now what we're going to do, we need 2 more pins. Come around to the other side. We're going to put one in right at the base of where this hide stretches across the board. Just tighten it down and bring it over some. Put that in there right now, right there. Do the same on the other side. And what doing that does is it helps this hide to be a straight line all the way around. So as you can see, it's straight and it curves around the board straight. You want it to be straight and curve around the board straight. That'll help with your grade, getting it to, the right size or whatever. So if your hide is straight right here, then the edges just go up like that. It's not going to be very good. It's not going to be as good. So we're going to make sure a nice straight line going around the board as well. So we got 4 pins on each side of the tail right here, 2 right here, 2 more up here. And now it's time for the tail. Alright guys, so we got our tail right here. So my tails, I don't pleat the tail or anything. What pleating the tail is basically kind of scrunching it up here, pinning it and scrunching it up here. And what that does is it makes the fur look more thick. It makes it look like there's more fur. So I don't pleat my tail or anything. I just pin it down. I do about maybe 5 or 6 pins just going down around each side. So I'll just come right here, pin right there. And then whenever I pin one, I'll do the exact same on the other side. And you should do that until you get down to the bottom of the tail. It'll depend on how long the tail is. So, alright guys, so we got our tail pinned in here. As you see, I should 4 sets of pins going down here. So you can see we got a nice straight line going here. 4 pins on each side. 4 pins on each side going down the tail. And then we have 2 pins over here. Now, basically, our coons we got them all pinned down and everything. Now we just have to do some finishing touches and clean them up some. Alright guys, so now what we're going to do is we're going to cut our window out here. Cut our window. So this is a sow, a female coon. So there'll be 3 sets of nipples on here. So you see there's 2 sets right here. You can kind of feel them. There's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. We're going to come up to the first set of nipples right here. We're just going to make a cut right on the top right here. Just put your knife right above the first set. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to cut along down here and just trimming off a little bit of fur. Just like that, and do the same on the other side. Alright, so you can see that's our window here. What this does is whenever you take your coon off the board, this will allow, the people to inspect, like look up in your coon, see the fur and all, and kind of see what you got. So that's what we do that. It's your inspection window. Alright guys, with my arms, I like to cut them. Some guys cut them all the way up here. I cut them, I leave them a little bit longer. I just cut them right here. Just trim them up some, make them look real nice. And might look long, but they'll dry. When it dries, it'll shrink up. So I like to leave my arms like that. It just looks nice and presentable. So as you can see, we got both of our arms trimmed up right here. You can see both arms, not big, long, and floppy. Looks nice and presentable. Alright guys, so what a lot of people do, next thing they'll do is they'll cut this bottom lip off right here. You can see it. What you'll do is just stick your knife right in here, cut around there, cut that lip off. I don't cut my bottom lips off because I tan most of my hides, and it just looks cool with the bottom lip on there. So that's why I don't cut that off. But other than that, cut the arms off, cut your window, and if you're selling yours, cut the just cut around that lip, cut that lip off. But I don't cut mine off because I tan mine. All right, guys. The last step is putting our belly board in here. But before I like to do that, before I let the coon dry, I like to take a little trick here. This is just a belly board here. Just go right up here, come down right here. Go down. You can see all this, grease and fat and stuff that just came right off here, so that doesn't have to come off in the drying process. So I'll do that on each side. I'll do that 3 times. A lot of guys just do it once, but I like to make sure mine dry real nice. So I like to get off all that extra grease on the surface. So down there. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Alright guys, so as we've done that, see we got all that off. It'll make this coon dry a lot faster with all that grease and fat out on there, so make sure you do that. Alright guys, last step is putting your belly board in here. So just come up right up here to the window, slide up all the way up to the nose, just like that. What this will do is once the coon dries, it'll make it a lot easier to pull this coon off the board once it dries, so it's definitely a must. And so a lot of guys will take them and they'll hang them upside down here, so all the grease and stuff drips down to the head. I don't do that. I don't really think it matters. I just hang them, or I don't even really hang it. I just set it right here against the table. Now just let them dry like that. It dries perfectly fine. It'll take about a week or 2 to just depending for these guys to dry. Temperature doesn't really matter a whole lot. Anywhere from 60-ish degrees. Now doing it in like a garage or shed will be fine. So yeah guys, take about a week for these guys to dry. And if you see, this is one I actually put up yesterday. As you can see in here, this guy's definitely dry in this area. The better you flesh them, the faster they'll dry. You can see up this area, there's still some fat left on here. This area is not dry yet. It's still a little bit wet. And you can see here, this area is definitely dry, but it just depends how well you flesh them. Make sure you guys flesh it really well. It should take about a week and a half for these guys to dry. So yeah. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you learned something, and stay tuned for more videos like this. And follow me on TikTok and Instagram @WalkersBigAdventures.